This is the story of a woman who was talented, hard-working, and full of fire, and who had never finished a single thing in her life. 11 dreams, 11 beginnings, not one ending, until an old gardener showed her something about a tree that broke her heart, and then rebuilt it. But first, tell me something. How many unfinished things are sitting in your life right now? Be honest. Put the number in the comments. Like the video if you're ready to hear this. And let's begin. In a quiet town at the foot of a hill, there lived a woman named Clara. Clara was 42 years old, and she was, by any measure, gifted. She could write, she could draw, she could learn almost anything quickly. People had called her full of potential since she was a girl. But if you had opened the door to Clara's spare room, you would have seen the truth of her life. A half-built website for a shop that never opened, 200 pages of a novel she'd been writing for 9 years, a guitar with dust on the strings, craft supplies from a business she abandoned in the 3rd month, 11 things, all started with enormous fire. All abandoned somewhere around the point where it stopped being exciting and started being work. Clara had a daughter, Ivy, who was 13. Every evening, Clara came home from a job she didn't love and poured herself into the next thing, the new thing, the thing that would finally be it. And every few months, the fire went out, and Clara would lie awake asking the same question. I start with so much love. So why does it always die? What is wrong with me? One evening, her sister came for dinner and asked kindly, "So, what are you working on these days, Clara?" And before Clara could answer, before she could pick which of the 11 to name, Ivy said, without looking up from her plate, "Mum starts a lot of things." She didn't say it to be cruel. That was the worst part. She said it the way you say something that is simply, obviously true. The table laughed a little. The conversation moved on, but Clara sat very still and felt something inside her quietly break. Later that night, she stood in the doorway of the spare room and looked at 11 graveyards of her own enthusiasm, and she thought, "My daughter does not believe me anymore. And she is right not to." The next morning she walked to the old community orchard at the edge of town, and there, in the middle of it, was an old man with a pair of long shears, Mr. Haddad. He had tended these trees for as long as anyone could remember, and he was cutting. Not dead wood, healthy branches, thick, green, living branches, heavy with new growth falling into the grass. "Excuse me," Clara said before she could stop herself. "Why are you doing that? Those are good branches." Mr. Haddad lowered his shears and smiled slowly. "Yes," he said, "they are very good branches. That is exactly the problem." Clara stepped closer. "I don't understand." He gestured at the tree. "Last season, this tree grew 40 branches. 40. Strong, healthy, everyone full of promise. He lifted a small basket from the grass and held it out. Inside were perhaps a dozen apples, small, shriveled, hard. That is everything the tree produced from 40 branches, small fruit, bitter, enough for no one. But it grew so much, Clara said, because a tree does not have unlimited strength. He tapped the trunk. Everything it has, the water, the light, the life in its wood, must be divided among every branch it carries. 40 branches means each one receives 1/40th of everything the tree can give, and no fruit on this earth grows sweet. On 1/40th, he raised the shears. So I choose for it. This year, I cut it back to 8. It loses 80% of everything it grew. A healthy limb fell softly into the grass. And next season, this tree gives me fruit twice the size and 10 times as sweet, not despite the cutting, because of it." Then he turned and looked at her, really looked, the way people do when they can see straight through you. "Tell me, how many things are you growing right now?" And Clara began to count: the book, the shop, the guitar, the course, the 11, she whispered, 11 branches. He nodded without any judgment at all. "And you are wondering why none of them bear fruit?" Clara's eyes filled. "Listen to me," he said gently. "You are not failing. You are not lazy. You do not lack discipline. You are simply growing in too many directions. Every dream you keep alive drinks from the same well, and you have been feeding 11 dreams from one small heart." "So what do I do?" Clara asked. "What every good gardener does." He placed the shears in her hands. "You prune, and there are 3 rules. Rule 1, choose one branch. Write down every single thing you are growing. Then choose one. Not the easiest, not the newest. Choose the one you would most regret never having done. Rule 2, cut the rest and cut them out of sight. Not later, not someday, boxes, drawers, closed doors, because a dream you can still see still drinks your water. Rule 3, give it one full season. You do not judge a pruned tree after a week. It looks worse before it looks better. You will feel bare. Do not listen, and you start nothing new. Not one thing. Not until that branch bears fruit." Then he smiled. "Come back at harvest and bring me your fruit." That afternoon, Clara went home and did the hardest thing she had ever done. She packed away 10 dreams. She wrapped the guitar. She boxed the craft supplies. She closed the website tab she had kept open for 2 years. Each one felt like a small death, because each had been, at some point, the thing that was going to save her. Then she carried them to the loft and closed the hatch. She kept one branch. The novel, 200 pages, 9 years old. The thing she had carried longest and believed in least. The first month was agony, not because writing was hard, but because the urge to start something new was almost physical. Every time the book became difficult, her mind offered her a shiny, brand new idea, and she began to understand something. Starting was never her passion. Starting was her escape. But she had given her word to an old man with shears, so she stayed. Around the 3rd month, something changed. With only one thing to feed, she began to get good. Not talented. She had always been talented. Good. Deep. The kind of good that only appears on the far side of boredom, where she had never once been before. Then Ivy asked one evening in a carefully casual voice, "Are you still doing the book?" And Clara said, "Yes." A month later, "Still doing the book?" "Yes." And month after month, that one small word did something no speech ever could. In the 9th month, the real test came. A friend called with a genuine opportunity. Exciting, flattering. The exact kind of thing Clara had leapt at 11 times before. She stood in her kitchen with every cell in her body screaming yes. And she said, "I can't. I'm growing one branch this year." She hung up and shook for an hour. It was the hardest no of her life. It was also the moment she stopped being a person who starts things. 11 months after the orchard, Clara typed the last sentence of her novel. She sat back in the quiet of the house. She didn't cheer. She didn't cry. She just sat in a silence she had never felt before. The silence of something finished. 9 years, and it was done. A small publisher took it that spring. not a fortune, not fame. A modest little book with her name on the front. The first copy came in a cardboard box. Clara opened it at the kitchen table, and Ivy, 14 now, picked it up and opened the dedication page. It said, "For Ivy," who waited. And a few weeks later, at a family dinner, someone asked what Clara did these days. And before Clara could open her mouth, Ivy said with her chin up, "My mum is a writer. She wrote this." Clara took the book to the orchard that autumn. Mr. Haddad turned it over in his old hands, then laughed and set it down beside a basket. The basket was full of apples, huge, red, heavy. 8 branches, he said, and handed her one. Clara has written 3 more books since, one at a time, always one. Above her desk hang a pair of old pruning shears. Mr. Haddad left them to her. My friend, if you have ever lain awake wondering what is wrong with you, why you burn so bright at the start and go cold 3 months in, hear this clearly. Nothing is wrong with you. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are a tree with 40 branches, wondering why the fruit is small. And no dream on earth grows sweet on 1/40th of a person. So here is your challenge. Step 1. Write down every single thing you are currently trying to grow. The side project, the course, the fitness plan, the business idea, the half-written thing. Count them. That number is your answer. Step 2. Choose one branch. Not the easiest, not the newest, the one you would most regret never having done. Then cut the rest out of sight, in a box, in a drawer, off your screen, because a dream you can still see is still drinking your water. Step 3. Give that one branch a full season, 6 months, a year, before you judge it. And start nothing new until it bears fruit. You will feel bare at first. Every pruned tree does. That feeling is your strength being gathered into one place for the very first time. You do not need more discipline, or more time, or more talent. You need fewer branches. The fire never died because you were weak. It died because it was split 11 ways. So tell me in the comments 2 things. How many branches are you carrying? And which one will you keep? Write it down. Make it real. I'll be reading every single one. If this story reached you like the video, share it with someone who has a room full of beautiful, unfinished things. And subscribe, because every week I bring you another story of an ordinary person who changed their life. Remember the gardener's words. You are not failing. You are just growing in too many directions. Pick up the shears. Which branch will you keep?